And we're here live. Welcome to another live Q&A with Kobo Writing Live. My name is Tara, and I'm the director of Kobo Writing Live for English language, and really happy to be able to do another Ask Kobo Anything, and this one being specific about promotions. So if you're tuning in live, let us know where you're coming from. We tend to get people from all over the world, so that's always really fun to see. And be sure to ask your promotions questions. We have some coming in already. We are here to tell you everything that we can in an hour. So I have, bribed and and sweet talked my favorite promotion experts to come here and talk to us. So we're going to go around and just do a quick introduction. So I'm going to ask everyone to tell us each who you are and what areas of the promotions that you work on. So Laura, you're next to me on my screen, so I'm going to start with you.
Hey guys. So I'm Laura. I'm one of our author engagement specialists on the Kobo Writing Life team. And I kind of do a lot of, the back end setup for promos. So I put them all in the tool so you guys can apply to them. I also request creative for sales from our creative team and tell them what I want to put in emails. And then I approve everything before it goes out, so there's no typos or anything. I also do kind of like our specialized promotions, so our Buy More, Save Mores and BOGOs, and also some backlist sales, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Shayna, our queen of promotions, can you tell us who you are and what area of the promotions you work on for our viewers that might not be familiar?
So I'm Shayna. My title is Author Relations and Promotion Strategist. So I'm involved with most of the promos that you'll see on the promo tab, if you have the promo tab. And I'm involved a lot in choosing the books. So choosing the books for the free page, for our daily deals and double daily deals, and for all the sales that you see on the promo tab. Yeah.
Excellent. And you also do some really good analysis of the sales afterwards, which is key, I think, for us to keeping the sales really in tune with what our readers are looking for.
Absolutely.
All right. Last but not least, Joni.
So I work on the smaller merch stuff, I would say. I do all of our audio promotions, which are relatively new to Kobo, and I also work with OverDrive to solicit titles for any promos that they're running. And I should have said, I'm Joni. I'm also an author engagement specialist with Laura on KWL.
Yeah, and you might recognize Joni as the host of the Kobo Writing Life podcast. So this is the face that is behind that voice. So we're here from Toronto, in different areas of Toronto. Shayna is in Montreal, and we have some viewers coming from, Dave is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We have Oklahoma. We have somebody tuning in Bali, who is a South African, but's in Bali. I'm really jealous of that. And we have another person in Cape Town, DC, Ohio. Thank you all for tuning in. It's wonderful to see where everyone is coming from. And be sure to ask your questions in the comments as well for any promotion questions that you have. Somebody in London. Hello, Sarah in London. Okay, so let's start off with some basics. And so if people aren't familiar, so we're going to be really focusing on the English language in this hour. So what are Kobo's key markets that authors should want to promote to? Joni, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I would say our biggest market is definitely Canada, which is where we are located. That's where most Kobo readers and listeners are. We also do very well in Australia and New Zealand, and that's growing a lot. I've seen a lot of growth there recently. The Netherlands is another big one that some people might not know about. We partner with bol.com in the Netherlands, and they have a huge market share. And we know that Dutch readers will read voraciously in English, so that's another area. The UK also, and France, Italy, and I think Spain are also growing. Have I missed anywhere?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we could say every country in the world, but those are definitely the key ones that when you're thinking about marketing on Kobo, you're thinking sort of a global sense and not just in the North Americas. And I want to just shout out hi to Mark, who's in Waterloo. Hi, Mark, how are you getting on? And hello from Charles in Toronto. So let's get started with Shayna. So you've alluded to the promotions tab that we have. So if people aren't familiar, can you tell us why it was developed? Like, why did we create this product for authors?
Yeah, so originally I've been on the Kobo Writing Life team since the beginning. So originally when we were trying to do some kind of sale, let's say a 40% off sale, it was obviously difficult to get content because you can't just put a title at 40% off. The author has to okay it. And so we had to literally email authors directly and be like, do you want to be a part of that sale? Which obviously can't really work as our base of authors gets larger and larger and larger. And what we really wanted was for authors to have the ability to submit to promotions on their own rather than us having to email them to ask them to submit. So we created the promo tab. It's not live in everyone's account. You have to email in to request that it be added to your account. But once it's added there, you can see like a list of all of the sales and features that we have available that you can submit to at any given time. So these change like throughout the month. We put new ones up every week, but some will always be there. So our free page, we update once a week. So that's kind of always visible there in all the different genres. We do a lot of stuff other than free, but just because free is constantly being updated, it seems like it takes up a lot of the tab. We have daily deals and double daily deals, and then lots of different promotions that come up and down. And you can submit your book. You can choose what price you want to drop the book to if it's a price drop. And then on our end, I'm going through the submissions and choosing which books work. And creating the promos based on your submissions.
Nice. I think that's a great point that free isn't the only thing that lives there. I think our tool can be a little bit free heavy just because that's a permanent page that we continually stock. So be sure to scroll through and see what's there. How often would you say that it's updated? I tend to advise authors that we kind of update on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I would say check it once a week. We don't just update on a certain day because promos are coming up and going down sort of all over the place. It's not just like only on Mondays or anything. But yeah, check it once a week. I think that's a good timeline. Yeah.
Good. So Kobo, Rashid had a question about Kobo. He's tuning in from Lagos. I'm going to say that incorrectly, in West Africa. So how can I promote my books on Kobo? And I would say to ask us about the promo tab if you don't have that already. So you can simply just send us an email and request this comes through. Charles asked how many people are aware that this tool exists. We do get a lot of people using the tool now, Shayna. How kind of popular, I don't know how to quantify that necessarily.
Yeah, it's difficult to know how many authors are using it, but like for a larger sale, like we have these 40% off sales that we do every month and VIP sales that we do every month where the email only goes out to our VIP customers, and I'll get like 500 submissions for something like that.
Wow.
And which is okay because it's a larger sale. Usually we'll approve about 300. So we still are declining a lot, but we're also including a lot. We'll also get a lot for certain sections of the free page, like the first free in series list on the free page and anything in romance on the free page. Unfortunately, I usually only have 6 spots to fill each week, and we'll get like 60 or 70 submissions. So there's a lot of people even declined there. So yeah, definitely a lot of people know about it. A lot of people are using it.
Yeah, and one of the questions here has come up, why are some books rejected from a promotion? And I think that that's answering it. It is sheer volume a lot of the time.
Yeah, I would say like 70% of the time it's volume. And of course, like just saying it's volume is a little bit misleading. Of course, we are choosing. So it's a combination of I only have 300 spots to fill, but I got 500 submissions. And so I am going to be choosing the very strongest books that I'm seeing. A lot of it is based on the book cover if I don't know the author specifically and the genre that you're writing in. So it's always good to just make sure your book is as strong as possible, especially with a professionally designed book cover. But like sometimes, especially with the free page, I've got 6 spots to fill. It really is. I pick the 6 that I think are the best, and then just everything else is being declined in kind of one go. So it's not like a personal You know, you can have a perfectly great book and there just isn't space sometimes.
Yeah, my advice to authors is always to just be persistent and not to take it personally that if your book is getting rejected, because the best thing that you're doing is you're actually putting your book in front of the people that should be looking at it, like Shayna. So, Shayna will get familiar with the different titles, and then also to take advantage of the text box, because you use that as well, Shayna, right?
Yeah.
So there's an open text box that you can tell us a little bit about your book. Maybe you've rebranded, maybe this is a new cover, maybe it's an award winner, you're going wide for the first time. There's or you have landed a BookBub featured deal. There's lots of stuff that can really help us kind of pick the titles as well. Did I miss anything?
For sure. And sorry to interrupt. Be sure to read the description for each promotion as well. So like sometimes we'll literally ask you to use the text box. So like if it's a first in series promotion, sometimes the information we get on our end isn't all the information on your book. So if it's not written in the title, sometimes it's difficult for us without clicking through to see if it's the first in. So it's easier if you used in the text box to be like, this is the first book in a series, or we'll ask you to, if it's a Pride sale, we'll explain in the text box why your book should work for a Pride sale, stuff like that. So just make sure that you're reading the description.
Cool. We have lots of questions coming in, so keep them coming. Thanks, everyone. So one question here is from Caitlin. How do we increase our chances of landing a promotion? So I think it's sort of what we've already touched on a little bit, but do you have any other advice?
Yeah, so like sometimes, for example, if it's like a daily deal or a double daily deal, this is situations where I'm choosing just one book. So if you apply, like double daily deals there's like 30 a month. So if you apply just for like, June 6th, and I decline you, but I was like, you know what, that was a good book, but I could have used it on the 8th. So sometimes I'll use, like, we can send a comment back to the author and be like, can you please, submit also for the 8th, and I can approve you then. But it's good to like maybe apply for more than one date. And just keep in mind that I can't move your submission to another date. I think some authors do think that that's possible, and they'll be like, oh, I would also be good for this day or this day. And it's just like, well, I can't move it. You have to actually go submit. So you can submit for multiple promotions. You can submit for multiple dates, like the free page, try for 3 weeks in a row. I might decline you once, but if your book was pretty good and the next week I don't have as many submissions, you know what I mean? Like I could get it the next week. And provide as much detail as you like in the comments box, having a really great cover, and following the instructions, because there are a lot of people are getting declined because they didn't follow the instructions properly. Like for certain sales, it's a price drop sale, and you have to put in a discounted price. So when you're submitting, the price you're submitting has to be a discount off of what we would call the regular price, which is the price that you have on your book normally. And sometimes people will be like, well, this sale is $3.99 or less, and the regular price of my book is $2.99, so I'm just going to submit it at $2.99. That doesn't actually work. You still have to do a discount. So discounting from $2.99 to $1.99, then you would be eligible. So just keeping track of that stuff.
Nice. Holly has a question saying, is there a way to take advantage of the promo tab if you use a distributor, say Draft Digital, for example? Not at the moment, Holly, mostly because it's just what we have control over with Kobo Writing Life authors, because the agreement with Draft Digital is with Draft Digital themselves and not the authors directly. However, the team there do have a lot of promotions that they run with lots of retailers that they send to, and they often run Kobo ones as well. So I would keep an eye on both if you're using Draft Digital, because the guys there always have stuff running. All right, lots of questions coming through. So Laura, I'm going to move over to you for now, give Shayna a little break. So can you tell us what does BMSM or a BOGO stand for? These are things that we talk about a lot in terms of promotions.
Sure. So BMSM is a buy more, save more sale. So it's basically any sale where we're kind of encouraging readers to buy a lot of different books in one go. So examples of this are like a 3-for-2 sale or a 2-for-1 sale, for example. And BOGO is buy one, get one, and that's a type of buy more, save more. To put it simply.
Nice. And does one author get penalized, or how does it work with the kind of how the royalties are calculated?
Sure. So it's not one author kind of taking the hit as the free book for the sale. So the good thing about Buy More, Save More is that the discount is spread out on all the books that are purchased at one time. So it's not just one book taking the hit.
Nice. And I think that these can be really great promotional opportunities for authors because they're multi-author promotions. So it's not just you that are doing the marketing on your side. You're also having all these wonderful other authors that are writing in the similar genres doing the marketing there as well. Do you think that's sort of key to the success?
Yeah, so I think that's a big part of it too. The other cool thing about the Buy More, Save More setup on Kobo itself is that they kind of advertise on the product page as well. So each product page kind of does its own advertising. Each book that's participating in the sale has a buy one, get one badge or a Buy More, Save More badge on the product page that links to the landing page with all the books. The other thing that's cool too is you don't have to drop the price of your book. And the sale will just, the discount will just generate when books are added to the cart. And the other cool thing is that our store actually prompts customers to, once they've added books to their cart, it will prompt them to add more books that apply to the sale as well.
Ah, that's a good
Take
tip.
advantage of the deal, yeah.
Good to highlight the Buy More, Save More buttons that are on the website, that it just sort of says that it's in a promotion, because that's a relatively new feature that some authors might not be aware of on Kobo. So we are doing all of our best to sell your book as well to these readers. One question that has sort of come up is there a time around submission? So if somebody wants to go for to take part in a Buy More, Save More or something in the promotions tab, and they are included in a promotion, do they have to wait a certain amount of time before an author can submit again?
That might be a good one for Shayna, yeah.
Yeah. They don't have to wait. So like your book, due to a limitation in our system, if you're doing something through the promo tab, your book can't be in 2 promos at once, even if the dates don't overlap, which is a little bit irritating. But so if you've submitted to a promotion, you've been approved, and the promotion is from like June 1st to 10th, you can't submit your book again until like the 11th. And I'm not saying that like we're punishing you, but literally if you try to submit, you'll get an error. It'll say no, because the system is like, but you're already in a promotion. We can't handle you being in 2 at the same time. It just doesn't work. But otherwise, no, just, you can submit as many times as you want. If you get declined, you can keep submitting. That's new.
Nice. Yeah, I know there's some other kind of promotional platforms that have like certain time restrictions. So no, we don't have anything like that. A few people thought that I said BDSM. Guys, I'm just trying to make sure that you're paying attention. And I definitely had to double take the first few times I saw that phrase written down. BMSM. Okay, so Joni, let's go to you next. So we have a couple of questions coming in about promotions with different formats. So you work on our audio promotions and libraries. So let's go to libraries first. So what promotions do you have? What do we run around promotions for libraries?
So mostly the libraries are running promotions and they're reaching out to publishers. So they're typically genre focused and they are kind of themed with the time of year. So they'll do typically February romance sale, and they do like an end of year extravaganza, and they do that kind of thing, which is great for our authors. They also do a few, they do quite a lot that aren't necessarily suitable for our authors. They do a lot of nonfiction, which I always reach out to authors for. But yeah, we are mainly going with what the library is looking for. So they do these just for librarians. So it's they're typically price dropped. They ask for a percentage off your library price, and authors just need to submit what book they want to include in the sale, what percentage off they'd like to offer, and then the library will take that information. They'll reduce the library facing price, and then they'll send that out to their librarian. So it's one of those things where you submit to it and then you never see it, and you can't advertise it because it's really just for the library system. But they're really great. They're a great way of getting your books in front of the librarians that are picking their catalogs. We also can do, we've done a few features on just one author's title. So if you're super interested in getting your books into libraries, you can reach out to me. We can do, sometimes we group things together. We'll say, look at these thriller mystery authors. We can include a little bit of information about your books, and then have that included in the library email also.
Nice. So yeah, I would say if you're interested, email writinglife@kobo.com, and we'll add you to that, because our library promotions are not in the promotions tool. Joni is manually doing these, but she'll happily add you to the list there. Medell from Ottawa is asking, is there a way to promote to Canadian and US libraries that our books are available on OverDrive? Is there a way directly, or is this more of your readers would really be asking librarians?
Yeah, if your books are opted into OverDrive, then the librarians can see them. I know that there are a lot of books in the catalog. If you're friendly with your local library, it's always worth mentioning. But other than that, it's really just about a lot of their purchasing comes from word of mouth from readers. So telling readers, let your library know that you want to read my books, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and OverDrive gave us some really interesting stats when we were looking at 2020 numbers, that I think it was 25% of our library sales were demand driven, meaning that customers had come in asking for specific books. So I definitely would really encourage authors to let your readers know where they can be accessed, because that was a really high percentage for me. I had no idea. It's the first time we've looked at that.
And I know that we've heard from a lot of authors that sometimes readers will reach out and say, oh, I read the first book in your series free. When is the next one going to be free? Or they've read your books in a subscription program, and they, they're looking for free books, basically. Like, this is the best way to answer that. Like, well, I'm not giving my books away, but please ask your library and they might buy them.
Sure. And Sky McKinnon, hello, has a question. She's asking, how are these sales communicated to librarians? So is that just like an internal sort of email?
Yeah, so they have a circular that goes around to librarians, and I think it's a monthly newsletter type of thing, and it'll have like a save more on romances this month, or whatever the theme is. I can probably share an example.
There's a page as well, I think, isn't there? There's like a site
on their system, which I don't think we have visibility into what the librarians see.
But the librarians can see the promotions on that site as well, that they only can see.
I know it is kind of a little bit of a mystery, and there's a little bit of trust there that the librarians are they're doing the right thing. But yeah, we definitely will make the books available. I have a question about libraries in general, Joni, because it's so interesting to me that it's not the same books being purchased in libraries that are kind of being the top sellers in Kobo in general. So do you think that there's anything specifically that our librarians are looking for in terms of titles?
I think it's very, like you said earlier, demand driven. I do notice there are some trends with libraries, like they don't want erotica. They want romance. They do not like erotica. So anything that looks too steamy, they won't pick up. I've noticed that they always seem to really like the illustrated rom-com type covers do really well. I haven't got a whole lot of idea about other genres. But they do tend, you're right that they are quite often different titles to what's selling on the retail stores. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Steve is asking, do authors have to submit their books to OverDrive? You can add your books to OverDrive really easily when you're publishing through Kobo Writing Life. It's just a button. It is a button and a price. You have to add your library price, and it is in the rights and distribution section of your book whenever you're adding in. And just as you mentioned erotica there, we did have a question not related to BDSM, but just in general with our promotions. Maybe this is for Shayna. Do we do specific promotions around more active romance titles?
Active romance, meaning
code name for erotica.
Okay, so
it's active.
We haven't been doing many or any specifically for erotica lately. Definitely we include erotica in our romance lists if we're doing a sale, like the 40% off sale and stuff. But you just have to be careful as to how racy your cover is. Just because in our promotions, we are a little bit careful about that. Yeah, so just if it's too racy, we might not be able to approve it. Just keep that in mind when you're submitting.
That's a good point. I love that we just include them with the general romance to sort of give the readers the chance to choose the type of books that they want to get without sort of sectioning off a certain area of books, but just to be mindful of the covers, I think. And Laura, you run the kind of the buy more, save mores with different genres, and in romance, you would include all sorts of all different types of romance, right?
Yeah, so like Shayna said, it kind of depends on the cover. Like I'll definitely include erotica if it has more subtle cover. But yeah, the covers that have a more of a racier feel, sometimes it's a bit harder because these are emails that are going out to customers, and sometimes the racier covers won't really work with what our CRM team has in mind for our brand and marketing.
Charles says that his sister's a librarian, awesome, and that they're more likely to stock manga books than erotica, asking, does Kobo have plans to include manga or comic books in the future? Yes, you can definitely get them on Kobo right now. It's a huge part of our Japanese business. No surprise there. We even tailor some of our Kobo devices in Japan specifically for reading manga. So those are definitely available and can be published through Kobo Writing Life as well. It's just a bit more complicated in terms of the creation because the EPUB file is a bit more complicated than your standard reflowable file, though. Okay, that question came up. So Joni, we are going to go... Oh, actually, we have one more question about the kind of romance and what we're seeing is steamy. Lynn says we need some erotica promotions, and I don't disagree with you, Lynn. For steamy romance, is there any objections to clothing being partially off, like not entirely, very similar to like historical romance where the back of the dress is open? What are your guys' thoughts on covers like that?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah. Shirtless guys, totally fine.
Yeah, definitely. If you take out shirtless guys, there's going to be
there's going to be no romance. No, that's totally fine. I meant like closer to like full nudity kind of covers.
Yeah, like underwear. Okay, thongs. Oh, so you're getting a little bit,
Yeah, but like definitely like tasteful, like half like dress down, like the historical romance covers. That's totally fine.
Yeah, guys, don't start dressing your dudes on your covers.
Yeah.
It's not what our readers want.
Yeah, we're definitely team torso over here.
Yes.
And often it'll be the titles as well. I don't
point.
really see a lot of submissions where like the image on the cover is bet, but the title being too suggestive, maybe is the word, can be a reason why your book might be declined.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Anne has a great comment here saying, anyone hesitant, RE OverDrive, go for it. I've started mentioning it to my readers consistently, and she suggests it to people who complain about the price of her books and is starting to see sales. So that's wonderful feedback to get, Anne. That's definitely what we're seeing. And I know we don't currently have those sales on the dashboard, so it can be hard to see them. Somebody has asked questions about our reporting and spreadsheet. So what I would say is that be patient. Our dashboard updates are coming very soon. And it's kind of a nice surprise. We do get emails sometimes from authors being like, you guys are overpaying me. And it's usually down to library sales. So if you're looking for your spreadsheets, you can find them if you go to My Account and hover down, and there's the payment information section, and you'll be able to download your spreadsheets, and your sales reports and your Kobo Plus sales reports will be there as well, which is the subscription program. So Joni, I want to stay with you again now and pivot a little bit to audiobook promotions, because you can also publish audiobooks directly with Kobo Writing Life. If you don't see this in your account and have some audiobooks, again, send us an email at writinglife@kobo.com and we'll enable this for you. So can you tell us a little bit about the audiobook promotions that we have running, and how is audio promotion different to ebook promotion?
So we are basically in the stage that Shayna mentioned before the promo tab existed. So we're doing it. We haven't yet integrated audio into the promo tab. So right now it is quite manual. It's me emailing my list of audio people and letting them know about what kind of sale we're doing. I normally do a Google form to get you to submit all of your information to me. And then I work with our merch team to run various sales. So if you have your audiobooks up and you want to hear about audio promos, again, email the Writing Life address and I'll add you to that. At the moment, we've done a lot of price drop sales. And another difference with the audio sales is that because we're not doing them through the promo tab, there's really no automation. And you need to go into your account and you need to go into your account the day before the sale starts and drop your prices manually for audiobook sales. And then you'll have to go in after and bring them back up to their regular price. So that's something that you should know going into it. We do run some buy more, save more sales also, which are easier in terms of you don't need to go and do that and do any price changes. Our audio merch team at Kobo is very, very KWL supportive. Might have heard her on the podcast.
I like that you reduced team to she so quickly.
Okay, no, Elise and Tiana, but Elise has done a podcast is what I was going to say. So you can listen to Elise giving advice on audio promos and pricing on the podcast. But yes, they're very, very KWL supportive. So she's been working with me. She and Tiana have been working with me to run various Kobo Writing Life specific promotions, which has been exciting. And we've got Audiobook Month right now. So that's a big one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's great advice, actually, to maybe look for podcast episodes on some of our promotional stuff. So there's that one on audio that's really awesome. And then we also had a great one with Latifa from OverDrive, where she kind of goes into details about what librarians are looking for and, just kind of how OverDrive is working. So that's, I would encourage people to look up those sorts of things.
And something else about audio. So I have, we can share the link somewhere after this, but I do have a link to let me know about new audio releases. And those come straight to my email. I send them to the merch team and then they use that to populate their various audio genre lists. So please do use that. I do check it. It's it is going somewhere. And something else I wanted to note was we talked about the free page earlier. So we have never assumed that authors would want to give away free audio because we know it's expensive. We just didn't really think that there was much demand for that from an author perspective, but we found that a few authors are putting them out there. So we've added a free carousel for audio to the free page. And at the moment, again, we're not doing anything through the promo tool. There's no application process. So it's really just me finding books to populate that list. So if that's something that you want to do, if you want to try your audiobook free, first in series, try it for a week, let me know and we can definitely feature your book on that page.
Nice. There's a few questions coming through about Findaway Voices because they distribute to Kobo. So can an author that's distributing to Findaway apply for these promotions?
No, these are direct promotions. Findaway will be working with our audio merch team, though.
Yeah. So it's very similar to like we said about your eBooks being published through aggregators. It's the same sort of system. There's so many questions coming in. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought going on now. Is there any price limitations on promotions in general? Shayna, do you maybe want to talk to this about the difference between like the price drop promotions sometimes or the percentage off?
Yeah, so price limitations is what they're asking about specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we put up a promotion, if it's a price drop, we'll say that your book has to be priced, let's say it's $4.99 or less, and we'll explain if it says discounted, you have to put a discounted price. That means even if your book is less than $4.99, you still have to discount your price lower in order to be included. In terms of like 40% off sales, so anything that says 40% off, this is the percentage we usually do. When it says a percentage like that, it means it's a promo code sale. And so for promo code sales, and it will explain all this in the description, you don't have to lower your price. So that's really great if you're at all worried about price matching on another retailer, obviously the major retailer. If you're looking for, if anything says buy more, save more, or a BOGO, or it says percentage off. Those are the two where you're not going to have to lower your price. You'll just put in the regular price of your book, or we won't even ask you for a price, which is great. So you don't have to worry about that. And for things like daily deal, the homepage daily deal spot, of which we only have 3 a month, and double daily deals, you're supposed to, and it says this in the description, you're supposed to enter a price that's at least 50% off your regular price of your book. So these spots are really supposed to be for books that are heavily discounted. A book that has, like, for example, if you're submitting a book that's only $2.99 and you're discounting it to 99 cents, which is kind of the lowest you can go, that's great, but it's really not, it's not that much of a drop. Like $2.99 is already quite cheap. So you might have more success in getting this spot if you put in a more expensive book, like one that's $9.99 or $7.99. So at least it's quite a big drop. So that it just makes it more eligible, I guess, for the spot.
Thank you. There are some questions coming in about promotions in non-English. What I would say is that this is June is going to be our Ask Kobo Anything month, where every week we are going to talk to a different team about something, a different aspect of the business. And to give you a sneak peek, next week we're going to be talking to our European team about the promotions that they're running. So you can definitely check it out here on Facebook and on YouTube again, and we'll be sending out an email too. So I would definitely add that to your calendar for next week to talk to our European team, because they have a lot in the works in terms of promotions in non-English, and it's an area that is really growing swiftly. So, okay, I'm going to start going through some more of the questions here. So there's a question from Credi, I believe. This is probably for Shayna. Is star rating and number of sales, like number of copies sold, is that a factor that you're looking at when you're rejecting or accepting a book for a promotion? And if it isn't, is there anything else that you're specifically looking at?
So it's sort of a two-part answer. So when I'm looking at the books that have been submitted, we only get a limited amount of information about each book. We see the cover, we see the title, we see the price, and the author name, of course. But we don't see the star ratings or the rankings. So unless I happen to know that this author is, one who always, has high star ratings, no, I won't know that. So if you feel that the high ranking or star rating of your book is something that might help you be accepted, then put that in the comments box, because I can't see that when I'm, and we're not like going to the site to check every single book. That would take too long. But then in terms of how many books you've sold, I mean, no, that information isn't visible to me. But again, we keep track of, the authors that are doing well on our site. So yes, if I see one of our, if I see a known author to us show up, I might be more likely to give that person a spot, because I'll be like, oh, I know this author. I know that they do well. So it's sort of, it's true and not true, kind of. It's all kind of being weighed. But if you're a new author and I'm not aware of you and you want to let us know, this book sold, this much on this specific date, or I had a book bub and it sold this many copies, you can absolutely include that in the comments.
Yeah, I definitely want to highlight as well that it's a team aspect that goes on, and it's kind of part of our relationship building with authors. I know that we all spend a lot of time talking to authors directly, and we discuss behind the scenes as the avid readers that we are, and just even the stories. Have you heard about this author? They're really killing it, or somebody's blowing up on TikTok. Now we all have to download TikTok. So it definitely is just kind of a bit of word of mouth, and also selecting within how people are doing in different areas. So did you have something you wanted to add, Laura?
Yeah, I was just going to say kind of like what Shayna said, if you're a newer author, also if you're an author who's maybe coming wide for the first time, that's a good thing to add in the comment box as well. So maybe you're newer to the Kobo platform and trying to build your Kobo audience outside of being like in Kindle Unlimited before. That's definitely something we want to know and help support you in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bridget Baker is coming to us from Texas, and she says that she would love to grow her Kobo readership. She has 3 perma-frees, but hasn't gotten any of the editor picks promos so far. Is there anything that she can do to kind of make her books more likely to get chosen for that? And do you rarely pick perma-free? Do you have a preference for the free page, if it's perma-free or not?
No, we can't necessarily tell unless we click through that the book is a perma-free book. So that doesn't really affect things. So for editor's pick, so just keep in mind for the editor's pick, we're only picking one book a week for each genre, right? So if you're always submitting for the editor's pick for romance, I can only pick one book. So let's say I have 60 submissions. I am declining 59 submissions. So what is a good idea to do is, like, let's say you want the editor's pick, submit for the editor's pick, but also submit for the list for that same week. Because sometimes, let's say there's 3 books that are the best ones that I'm trying to decide between for the editor's pick. I pick one, those other 2, I'm like, oh, that's too bad. But then when I go onto the list, which is just, you know, the section right under the editor's pick for that genre, I'll be like, oh, good, this book is here. So then you might get in for the list instead. Just keep submitting, submit for a bunch of weeks. That's a good idea. And yeah, that's just kind of my best advice. I mean, there's just a lot of competition. It especially depends on what genre you're in, but definitely, I think I already said this, but for first in series and romance, the competition is very fierce. I just get so many submissions. So it's not anything personal usually.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we don't have any restrictions about applying for promotions again, or just applying for different weeks. So I would take advantage of that.
Yeah. Although there always comes along someone who submits let's say they've got 17 books, they submit all 17 books for every single double daily deal of the month, or for every week free. Now, okay. Now that might get you some spots, because there's always, especially for double daily deal, I mean, there's 30 a month. There'll be some dates where I won't get a lot of submissions. So it'll be great to have, okay, well, these 17 are always there. I'll choose one of them. But we will get a little annoyed after a while. And after a while, if you're always submitting, let's say, your same 5 books to every single date, you don't even see them anymore, right? You get used to just skipping through those. You're like, okay, these are always here, and then I'll do the rest. So submit to multiple dates. Don't submit to all the dates, I think, is my best advice.
Okay, fair enough. Mark is asking if there's a way to participate in promotions that are targeted to Kobo Plus readers. Does anyone want to take this, or should I answer?
You go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. You're all like, yeah, keep going. We don't have any right now, Mark, but we definitely are working with the merchandising team to spotlight Kobo Writing Life authors. So you'll see on, so Kobo Plus, if anyone's not familiar, is Kobo's subscription program, where it kind of lets readers read all they like for a monthly fee. So we have this in select territories in Belgium, the Netherlands, newly launched Portugal, and then also in our home territory of Canada. The main feature that I have to stress is that it is non-exclusive, that we don't require any exclusivity. You can opt in and out easily and select the territories that you would like to choose. So with that in mind, if you go to in the Canadian store, or a store that has Kobo Plus, on the main Kobo Plus page, we have different carousels of genres and popular books that are there. And there's also different spotlights. So we do work with the team to feature the books that are there and the books that go into the emails. And we're hoping to kind of, as Kobo Plus grows in more and more places, be able to break out the promotions in a similar way that we were doing with kind of OverDrive and with audiobooks. And Sorsha says, thank you for making Kobo Plus not exclusive. You're welcome. Absolutely. We're definitely, it goes against our ethos, the exclusivity. We want you to put your books in front of as many readers as possible, and just try and get your name out there. So Steve is asked, as a new author with his first book about to release, pitch Kobo to me. Why would I go with Kobo and not with one of the several other promotional services out there? So I think just kind of stepping on the non-exclusive part is that Kobo really is all about books, so much so that it's actually an anagram of the word book. So the reason that I think that you should come to Kobo is that we're not trying to get you into our ecosystem to then sell you something else. Our readers are really kind of devoted to reading, and our team is a bunch of wonderful book nerds that want to make this the best experience possible, and we really want to help work with authors. So if you are not sold in that 10-second elevator pitch, you can email me and I can give you some more details. So this is a good question from Charles, probably again for you, Shayna, but maybe for everyone. Is there a day of the week where there are less competition for promotions?
Not really, no. Like I think the double daily deals would be a good example for this, because there are 30 in the month. I would say that people tend to apply a lot for like the first, second, and third of the month, and then like it goes really down for the rest of the month, because people are like, oh, these just got added, I'm all gonna submit. Like, don't everyone submit for the first, because I can only choose one. So go through. But other than that, I mean, no, I mean, we fill our promotions just like all the time, so there's no specific date. Yeah.
Great. Going back to, we have a question here about kind of rankings on Kobo's site. Joni, do you want to talk about the rankings?
Oh man, okay. So the rankings are difficult because I think people sometimes think that they mean more than they necessarily do. They don't correlate to sales necessarily, and they have a lot to do with how much people are looking for your book on the store. So something cool that happens, for example, if you have a BookBub, then your book and probably your author name are going to be searched a lot more on the store, because people are going to that product page for that book. Some of them will click on your author name and they'll see all your books. So we sometimes see a bit of a spike in sales after a daily deal. So that's an example of, even if nobody purchases based on that, all of that clicking and looking will bring you up in the store. And then it's also very... it's driven by the category. So if your book is in a small kind of niche category, then there might not be that many books in it. So if you are top of the list in some extremely, extremely specific subgenre, again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything other than that your book is the most looked at or whatever right now in that very, very specific genre. So like the rankings do matter. They're super dynamic, and they don't necessarily mean what you think they mean. So don't attribute too much importance to rankings.
Yeah, I think that's great, because the question was sort of asking like the difference between the rankings with Amazon and with Kobo. And just to say that like Amazon tends to be direct sales like rankings. So like Joni said, that there's a lot of stuff that goes into the numbers of the ranking on Kobo. So that would be the difference. Bridget has a question. Shayna, we're going back to you. She doesn't understand how the double daily deals work. Can you explain what the double daily deal is?
Okay, so there's the daily deal spot, which is the very high profile spot, which you'll see. I'm not even sure if it's called daily deal on site, but it'll be like a one-day deal or an extra deal or an extra sale. Anyways, it's quite prominent and it's on the homepage of our site. And we were like, well, why don't we do another one? So this double daily deal is another one like that, but it's not on the homepage of the site. It's on the deals page. So on the deals page, which you can get to by clicking on the drop down under eBooks on our homepage, go to daily deals and more, or ebook savings. In the US, it's called ebook savings. Anyways, you go on that site, that's that page. There'll be lots of lists of things that are on sale. The daily deal will be there quite close to the top. And then if you scroll down, there'll be another one, which is really the same thing again, which is a book that's on sale for just this one day. And we created it because for Daily Deal, we're sharing all that space with all the traditional publishers as well, and the other merchandising teams at Kobo that do the traditional books. So KWL only gets 3 spots a month for Daily Deal, the homepage one. So double Daily Deal, we have 30. So although it's not quite as high profile, we have a lot more space for you to apply for. So I guess that's the difference.
Nice. I hope that answers your question, Bridget. Laura, we haven't heard you talk in a little bit. Question from Lynn. Is there any chat behind the scenes about showing pre-orders on the dashboard? And for now, who can we contact for those numbers?
Sure. So to put it simply, yes, there's lots of chat behind the scenes about how much data we can show on the dashboard, and we definitely want to give you as much data as possible. We know as authors you want all the numbers you can, so we're definitely working to improve the dashboard hopefully soon, and pre-order numbers are part of the dashboard updates we have in mind. But for now, you can email us at writinglife@kobo.com, and we're happy to pull pre-order numbers for you even like a few times before your book releases.
Nice. I'm so excited to get this new dashboard in front of our very patient authors who have been asking for pre-orders for some time.
Yes, we're so excited, and we're totally nerding out about the new dashboard. So we really want to show you guys as soon as possible. So yes, definitely working hard. We have a whole team dedicated to the dashboard. So yeah, very excited to show you guys.
Yeah, and hopefully soon. Sorry, we have to be vague, but things always move. So Charles has a question about how does Kobo combat fake book reviews? I've noticed this is a huge problem on Amazon where there are tons of fake reviews. To answer that, Charles, we have a pretty strict system with reviews that go. They all go through kind of quality approval with a team that we have that works on this. So we don't find that we have the same level of any fake reviews that are there. And there's also, depending on the device that you're setting a review, it's like you have to include a review and a star rating to try and encourage that people have to like actually write things and not just like do star ratings. So we definitely we have a lot of systems in place to combat that. Will Kobo accept a published book added as an audiobook? Yes, Joni, I said audio, so I'm throwing to you.
What do you mean? What do you
Can you maybe just talk about how to publish an audiobook with Kobo Writing Live?
Oh, okay. It's very much similar to how you would publish an ebook. So you would need to ask us to enable that tab for you. And then there's a separate audiobook tab. I'm going to say that I don't know the ins and outs of uploading as well as you probably do, Tara. But I believe that you upload an MP3 file. You upload a sample file for the beginning. And I believe that you do it by chapter and that you can listen and check that you've got the right files uploaded.
Nice. Yep, absolutely. Getting a lot of thank yous for explaining the double daily deal, Shayna. So thanks for doing that. It's kind of just made it a bit more accessible to people, I think.
Just for the past question, maybe they were asking if the ebook and the audiobook have to be published on the same date. Is that maybe what they were asking about?
Oh, potentially. And no is the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have different dates for both. They don't have to be published on the same date at all.
But what you should do is you should make sure that your metadata matches for both. And that way, when they're published on the store will say also available in ebook or audiobook.
That is a great point. Yes, we do have automatic linking on our store. So if a customer is coming to your book, they'll be able to see right away if there is an audiobook there. And that's regardless of how it's uploaded. So there's kind of some comments here about, traditional publishing having a little bit more promotional opportunities than indies. And we are always fighting for you guys to have more promotional opportunities within Kobo. But one thing to keep in mind is that we deliberately don't kind of put indie books in any sort of box. From a customer perspective, they don't see, nor do they really care how a book is published. So when it comes to linking series or linking books, linking between ebooks and audiobooks, it doesn't matter to us where the book is coming from to get to Kobo. We just want to link it, so it's kind of the easiest way for the customers to purchase the book and to see what is available. Sorsha's asking, this is a great question. Are there any other tabs beside audio we must request to more fully utilize Kobo? Laura?
Yeah, so the only other tab besides audio would be the promo tab. So yeah, definitely request that. Right now it's only for English language, but then you can have access to all the fun promos that Shayna was talking about, and you can apply there.
Yeah. So yes, just promotions and just audiobooks. Those are the things that we've slightly like hidden. But yeah, you can ask for access for those. And it'll be easy to kind of publish your audiobook and go through promotions if you like. Hattie has asked, when will indie audiobooks be allowed in Kobo Plus? That is on our very large to-do list. We definitely want to include audiobooks in Kobo Plus. When we open up the audiobook tab for everyone, that should be a feature that is included, and that goes with libraries as well. So hopefully in the not too distant future. But something to keep in mind is that not every territory has audiobooks in Kobo Plus. Canada, for instance, is just ebooks, whereas audiobooks are included in Portugal and in the Netherlands and Belgium. So very, very soon. Sorry, now I'm reading and not talking at the same time. My apologies. So how much in advance should you submit a promotion request? So Shayna, does it matter how far ahead people work?
No, and I think sometimes people get confused about this. So for most promotions that aren't ongoing, so for like, let's say we just put in a 40% off promotion onto the tab, it'll have a deadline. So it'll say like, let's say due July 1st or whatever. So like you have to submit all your books by then. But even if you submit on the last day or the first day, it's not going to generally affect whether you get accepted or not. We tend to look at all the books and then, choose the ones that we want. So it's not as though because you got in first, you're guaranteed a spot. It's really as long as you're before the deadline. Also, I think it can be a little confusing. Sometimes authors get confused about when their title is going to be approved, especially for the ongoing ones like the free page. Sometimes approvals do come in only a few days before the free page will start, or the new week will start. And that's because we have to approve, we have to wait for authors to pay. And then some authors don't pay in time. They have like a 3-day window. And then if they didn't pay, we have to choose new books to replace those spots. So we don't really decline kind of until quite close to the date so that we can fill all the spots. Yeah. So that's fine.
Yeah, no problem. Charles is asking, are there country-specific promotions, like if I wanted to do a promo just in Australia? And I would say, Charles, that you should take advantage of our price promotion tool. So you can set your own promotion in any of the 16 currencies that we offer. So if you wanted to do something that was just in Australia, you could definitely do that. And also, in addition to that, we do have country-specific promotions. Shayna, again, I'm sorry, I'm really just like picking on you, but do you want to talk to some of the country-specific ones that we have?
Yeah, so like when you're looking on the promo tab, if the sale is taking place worldwide, we'll generally indicate that. But if it's specific to a certain country, like for example, Independence Day, which I think is up right now, there's an Independence Day sale. Obviously, that's just for the US because July 4th is Independence Day just in the US. Or we have some, often there'll be Canada and the US together, and UK, AU, and Australia and New Zealand together. But yeah, just keep track of, it'll usually be in the title that will tell you like which country things are taking place in. But because the majority of Kobo Writing Life books have worldwide rights, when we're doing sales ourselves, we do like to make them worldwide for all the English territories so that you're not, focused on just one country. But definitely, if you see that a sale is taking place in Canada, I would say those should be the most interesting one to you, just because that is the country where we have the biggest market share. So we have the most customers in Canada. So even if you live in the UK and you think, oh, well, I want to do these UK sales, true, but keep in mind that the most customers for Kobo is in Canada. So maybe you want to direct stuff there. And Australia is also a very big deal too.
That's a great point, and something that we can definitely hammer into anyone that is listening is that Canada is our biggest market and probably where our promotions are going to do the best in terms of any return of investment in something that you're putting forward. We have a question about the pricing structure of promotions. So I know we're coming up on the end here, so maybe this will be the last question that we have. Shayna, do you want to talk about how people can apply for the promotions in the promotions tab?
Yeah, so pricing structure, meaning?
So some of them being the upfront payment and some of them being
Oh, yes.
the
Okay, how
additional
you pay
costs.
for them.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's only a few where we actually ask for payment up front. The Daily Deal homepage spots, of which we only have 3 a month, are quite expensive because they are quite, you get a lot of attention. So there's those you have to pay up front. And the free page, you do have to pay, but it's quite cheap to pay for a spot. And basically you submit, we approve you, and then you get a link in an email asking for your payment. The majority of the rest of our promotions, it's a percentage of your COGS. So it'll be like a 10% reduction on the royalties that you will get paid for the books that you do sell in the promotion.
I think those ones are great when you're trying to get your foot into the Kobo audience. And then Joni and Laura, there's no charge for the promotions that you guys are running, right?
Yeah, the buy more, save more would just be like COGS as well.
COGS as well. Awesome. So we have come up on an hour. There's still so many questions. Feel free to email the team if we didn't get to answer your question. So you can email us at writinglife@kobo.com. Thank you all for joining us. This was a really great group of kind of authors and questions coming through. This has been really fun. And thank you, ladies, for giving up your lunch break to come and answer these questions with me. So thanks very much for joining. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing some extra additional Ask Kobo Anythings in the months of June. So keep an eye out for those, with next week talking to the team in Europe specifically. So thanks very much, guys. And I'm going to say goodbye for now and hope to see everyone again soon.